There's a certain kind of kiss that doesn't just make a man shiver. It makes him remember you. Long after the moment ends, he still feels it. Not on his skin, but in his mind. Because the truth is, the most powerful kisses aren't about where your lips go. They're about how you make him feel when they get there. See, most women think passion is about being daring or bold, about doing something wild that shocks him. But that's not what drives a man crazy. What really drives him wild is intention. It's the way your lips hover before they touch him. The way you breathe near his skin like you're memorizing his scent. The way you slow everything down until time itself seems to melt between you. That's what captivates him. That's what makes him surrender. Because for a man, true sensuality isn't just physical, it's emotional. It's that feeling of being wanted completely shamelessly and without words. When your lips explore him with curiosity instead of routine, when every kiss says, I choose you right here, right now, he stops thinking. He just feels. And that's the secret. You don't need to be explicit to be unforgettable. You just need to know where to touch him, how to do it, and why it affects him so deeply. So in today's talk, I'm going to show you the 3 places to kiss a man that drive him absolutely wild down there, not in an obvious physical way, but in a way that connects to his mind, his emotions, and his desire to feel truly wanted. Because when you know how to kiss him in these places, you don't just turn him on, you make him fall. When your lips meet his skin, what makes it powerful isn't the action itself, it's the intention behind it. You see, most people think kissing down there is about technique, rhythm, or surprise. But what truly separates a moment he enjoys from a moment he never forgets is the energy you bring into it. Because here's the truth. Men can feel the difference between when you're doing something to them versus when you're experiencing something with them. When your lips touch his body with curiosity, patience and emotional presence, something shifts. He stops being just aroused. He starts to connect. The best kisses aren't rushed. They're not mechanical. They're not goal-oriented. They're deliberate. They're filled with awareness of his reactions, his breath, the subtle movements of his body. When you kiss him with that level of focus, you're not just stimulating his body, you're speaking to it. Before your lips even touch him, take a breath. Let him feel your closeness, your warmth hovering over his skin. That moment before contact, that pause, is pure electricity. It's where anticipation blooms. Because the most sensual thing you can give a man isn't your body, it's the feeling that you're fully there with him. Start slowly. Let your lips travel with purpose, not pattern. Begin around his lower stomach or the edges of his hips. These are areas that are surprisingly sensitive but often overlooked. When you kiss him there, you're saying, I see every part of you, not just the obvious ones. That message hits deeper than any physical move ever could. Let each kiss feel like a sentence. Soft. They're intentional with pauses that let the words sink in. Use your breath between touches. Let it dance against his skin. The warmth of your exhale, the softness of your lips. These small, mindful gestures build more anticipation than anything else. Here's what happens when you do this. He begins to relax. His breathing changes. The tension in his shoulders melts. His focus narrows entirely to you. He's no longer just in a moment of pleasure. He's experiencing you. This kind of kiss tells him, I'm not here to perform, I'm here to connect. And that's what drives him wild, because deep down, every man wants to feel desired, not for what he can do, but for who he is. When your kisses say that without words, it awakens something primal yet deeply emotional in him. Don't underestimate the power of your energy. If your mind is distracted, he'll feel it. If you're truly present, he'll feel that too. And it's intoxicating. That's why the most magnetic women aren't the ones who try to impress. They're the ones who feel. When you kiss him with intent, every touch becomes meaningful. Every pause becomes a tease. Every breath becomes a message. You're not rushing toward an end. You're savoring the journey. And that's what makes him crave you again and again. So remember this, it's not about how long or how daring you are. It's about how aware you are. Slow it down. Let the moment breathe. Look at him, smile softly, and let him feel that you're there not out of duty, but out of genuine desire. Because a kiss with contact can make him feel good, but a kiss with intent, that makes him feel alive. If there's one place that holds the secret to driving a man absolutely wild, it's not the obvious one. It's his inner thighs. Because the truth is, desire doesn't explode all at once. It builds, it brews, it simmers under the surface until it becomes something he can't contain. And the inner thighs are where that tension begins to take shape. Most women rush to the destination, believing that's where the passion lies. But the real power, the kind that makes him lose his breath and his composure, lives in the in-between moments, the places that almost touch but don't. The kisses that hint instead of declare. The inner thighs are the perfect stage for that kind of magic. When you kiss a man there, you're not just stimulating him physically, you're playing with his mind. You're creating contrast. You're giving him the promise of something more while withholding it just long enough to make him crave it. And that's the secret to anticipation. It's not about what happens. It's about what almost happens. Start slowly. Don't rush in. Let your lips travel down the side of his legs, soft and unhurried. Each kiss should feel intentional, like a whisper of what's to come. The warmth of your breath, the softness of your touch, these sensations awaken every nerve ending. You'll notice how his muscles tense slightly, how his breathing deepens, how his body almost leans into you, begging for more. That's when you know you've entered the gateway of anticipation, that beautiful tension where pleasure and patience collide. Here's the psychology behind it. The closer you get to his most sensitive areas without actually touching them, the more his brain floods with dopamine, the anticipation chemical. He's not just reacting physically, he's feeling addicted. Every kiss along his inner thighs tells his body it's coming. Every pause makes him wonder when. Alternate between both thighs. Move from one side to the other slowly, deliberately, keeping your rhythm unpredictable. That unpredictability keeps his mind alert and his body begging. You're showing him that you're in control. You decide when the next kiss happens, where it lands, and how long it lingers. And trust me, that kind of feminine confidence, the ability to lead the rhythm, is incredibly magnetic. When your lips graze his skin, don't forget to use contrast. A light kiss followed by a lingering pause, a gentle breath followed by stillness. These shifts in energy heighten every sensation. You're not rushing to satisfy him, you're drawing him deeper into the experience. It's not about giving him everything, it's about making him feel everything. This is where connection deepens, because when you create anticipation, you're not just awakening his body, you're awakening his mind. You're telling him that pleasure isn't something to chase, it's something to savor. And in that moment, you become unforgettable, not because of what you did, but because of how you made him feel seen, desired, and completely powerless in the best way possible. So the next time you find yourself in that moment, remember, don't rush the journey. The inner thighs are your canvas, anticipation is your paintbrush, and confidence is your signature. Take your time. Let every movement say, I know exactly what I'm doing. Because when you master the art of kissing his inner thighs, you're not just teasing him, you're training his body to crave you. You're teaching him that with you. Pleasure isn't predictable, it's electric. And that's what makes him lose his mind, not from what you've done, but from what you still haven't. Just below his navel lies one of the most underestimated yet powerful zones on a man's body, the lower abdomen. This is where desire becomes personal. It's the space between his strength and his vulnerability, between control and surrender. And when you kiss him there, with intention and presence, you're not just touching his body, you're touching his ego, his pride, and his longing to be wanted. Most women skip this area, thinking it's just a bridge to somewhere else. But what they miss is that this part of his body holds tension, physical and emotional. It's where he braces himself, where he anticipates, where he waits. When you bring your lips here and slow everything down, you're not just giving pleasure, you're releasing something inside him. Begin by letting your lips hover just below his navel. Don't rush to make contact. Let your breath fall softly against his skin. That exhale alone sends a signal to his body that something intimate is coming, something deliberate. Then, when your lips finally meet his skin, make the first kiss slow. Still, deep, let it linger longer than he expects. You see, the lower abdomen is psychologically powerful because of its nearness. It's not quite where he expects to be touched, but it's close enough that his imagination fills in the blanks. That's where his mind starts to surrender, when he can feel how close you are but can't predict what you'll do next. That's the moment where his breathing shifts, where his muscles soften, where his world narrows down to just you. Use small movements, not repetitive but curious. Move your lips in slow circles, trace along his skin, or simply rest them there for a moment before moving again. You're building a rhythm, one that says, I'm not in a hurry. Because the more you slow down, the more he speeds up internally. You can even add an emotional layer. whisper something soft while you kiss him there. It doesn't need to be words of passion. It could be as simple as, I love being here with you, or you feel so good. That combination, your voice, your warmth, your lips, hits him on every level. Physical, emotional, psychological. When a man feels that kind of attention, he begins to let go. He stops thinking about control, performance, or expectation. He just feels, and that's rare for men. They live so much of their lives in their heads, analyzing, planning, leading. But in this moment, when your lips meet that soft space below his stomach, you're giving him permission to not think, to simply exist in the pleasure of being wanted. That's why this area matters so much. It's not about stimulation, it's about surrender. You're kissing the place that connects his mind to his body. You're giving him an experience that's not just sensual, but grounding. So don't treat it as a transition zone. Treat it as a destination. Linger there longer than expected. Let your hands rest gently on his sides while your lips explore that space between his strength and his softness. Because that's exactly what it represents, his balance point between power and vulnerability. And when you touch that part of him with care and curiosity, you'll notice the difference immediately in his breathing, in the way his hands find you, in the way he looks at you afterward. He's not just aroused, he's captivated. Because in that moment, you've done something no technique can replicate. You've made him feel safe to surrender. And that's the most powerful kind of intimacy there is. If there's one place that perfectly captures the balance between control and chaos, it's the pelvic line, that V-shaped path that runs from his hip bones down toward the center of his desire. This is where the human body seems to whisper. This is where the edge begins. Because when you touch or kiss along that line, you're not just teasing his body, you're toying with his self-control. The pelvic line is fascinating because it's both intimate and symbolic. It's a place that invites closeness but also demands restraint. When your lips trace along that path, you're saying, I could go further, but not yet. That pause, that playful hesitation is what drives him wild. You're giving him a taste of surrender without fully granting it. Start by letting your fingers explore first. Slowly trace the lines from his hips downward, as if mapping the territory you're about to claim. This simple act, your touch following the natural contours of his body, primes his senses. He's aware of every movement, every breath, every moment of stillness. You're awakening his anticipation before your lips even arrive. Now, when your lips do meet that line, do it with purpose. Begin at the top of his hip bone and move downward slowly, as if gravity itself is pulling you closer to him. Keep your movements soft but deliberate, your mouth barely grazing his skin, your breath mingling with his warmth. That contrast between heat and air, between touch and almost touch, is what ignites the madness. Here's why this area matters so much. It's a psychological trigger. The proximity of your lips to his most sensitive area makes his brain fire with anticipation. Dopamine spikes. His focus narrows. He can't think beyond that moment. You've taken over his nervous system 1 inch at a time. And the beauty of it, you're doing it without rushing, without words, without force, just control. Quiet, confident control. Vary your rhythm. Sometimes kiss one side and then the other. Sometimes pause midway and simply breathe him in. That unpredictability keeps his mind engaged. The not knowing when or where the next kiss will land builds a kind of tension that no fast or flashy move could ever recreate. It's slow fire, the kind that doesn't burn out, it consumes. You can even use eye contact if the moment allows. Lift your head slightly, meet his gaze, and let that mischievous smile say everything your words can't. That look, the one that says, I know exactly what I'm doing to you, pushes him over the edge emotionally before anything physical even happens. Because here's the truth, the pelvic line isn't just a physical trigger, it's an emotional invitation. It tells him he can trust you with his vulnerability. It's where his body's instinct to lead gives way to his desire to let go. And that moment, when he feels both safe and completely undone, is what makes him addicted to you. So linger there. Don't be afraid to take your time. Trace, kiss, breathe, pause. Let your touch tell him that you're not in a hurry, that you're savoring him, because that's what men crave deep down, to be wanted not for the act, but for the feeling of being desired. When done right, this simple tasing kiss along the pelvic line becomes so much more than foreplay. It becomes forever play. The kind of memory his body keeps long after the moment ends, because when your lips dance along the edge of his self-control, you don't just turn him on, you own his attention, his breath, and for a few seconds, his entire world. Here's something few people ever talk about, the most unforgettable part of an intimate moment isn't always what happens in the middle, it's how it ends. The way you close the experience tells him everything about what it meant. Because once the intensity fades, what lingers isn't just the physical sensation, it's the emotional impression you leave behind. After passion, there's a space, a quiet, unspoken moment where everything slows down, and that's where the real connection begins. This is the after. It's the soft landing after the storm, the silence after the song. Most people rush past it. They change the subject, move away, or distract themselves. But when you stay in that space, when you let it breathe, you turn what could have been just another moment into something deeply meaningful. Once you've kissed him, explored him, and built all that tension, don't immediately pull away. Rest your head gently against him. Let your hand stay on his chest or stomach. Feel his breathing. Let your energy stay connected. This tells him, I wasn't just here for the act, I was here for you. That's what men remember. Not just the physical connection, but the emotional one that follows. Because no matter how confident or composed a man seems, intimacy exposes a vulnerable part of him, the part that rarely gets to feel safe or cherished. And when you hold that space, even for a few moments, you create trust. After is your chance to anchor the emotional side of what just happened. Maybe you whisper something, not performance, not flattery, just honesty. A soft, you feel so good, or I love being close to you. Simple, grounded, real. Words like that land in his chest, not his ears. They make him feel seen. This is where chemistry turns into connection, because the truth is any woman can spark desire, but not every woman can make a man feel safe inside that desire. That's what keeps him thinking about you. That's what makes him want more than just the physical. It makes him crave your presence. Think of it like this. When you linger in the after, you're not extending the physical moment, you're deepening the emotional memory. You're teaching his body that being close to you feels peaceful, grounding, comforting. That's what his mind will return to again and again. And here's the secret. When a man feels emotionally safe in those quiet moments after passion, he associates that safety with you. He starts to connect intimacy with trust. And that's when his attachment deepens. That's when you stop being just someone he enjoys and start being someone he adores. So don't underestimate the power of what happens after, the stillness, the breathing, the warmth of your skin against his, the silence that doesn't need to be filled with words, because your energy says it all in the moment gently, not abruptly. Stay a little longer than expected. Give him the space to come down, to exhale, to feel, because it's in that softness, in that space after intensity, where love and connection quietly take root. Because the truth is any woman can make a man feel excited, but the woman who can make him feel safe after the excitement, she's the one he never forgets. So when it comes to kissing a man down there, remember, it's never just about the act itself. It's about what your energy, your presence, and your intention say without words. The most powerful moments aren't the loud ones. They're the quiet, deliberate, sensual ones that make him feel something he can't quite explain. Because the truth is, passion that fades was never real connection. But the kind that lingers, the kind that keeps him thinking about you long after the night is over, that comes from emotional depth. It comes from knowing how to touch him, where to kiss him, and why those moments matter. When you kiss him with awareness, when every breath, every pause, every touch carries meaning, you're not just awakening his body, you're awakening his trust. You're telling him, you can let go with me. And that is the most powerful kind of intimacy there is. So don't rush, don't perform, feel. Let your confidence lead the moment. Let curiosity replace expectation. When you kiss him with intention, from his lower stomach to his inner thighs, along that pelvic line, and into the stillness after, you're not just making him desire you. You're making him feel safe inside that desire. That's what makes you unforgettable. That's what makes him crave you, not just the experience. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who deserves to feel more connected in their intimacy. And remember, the secret isn't in doing more, it's in being present. Because when your energy matches your touch, that's when he doesn't just fall in lust, he falls in love.